Hello, everyone. My name is Wendy Myers. Thank you so much for joining us today. I have Dr. Lisa Fortin on the show today, and we're going to be talking about her involvement in the Harmoni Pendant study, where we tested about a little over 100 participants to with 11 different variables to determine how well they do after they activate and wear their Harmoni Pendant. So Lisa, thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
So just to give you guys a little bit background about Lisa, Lisa Fortin, MD, is a Harvard-trained leader in regenerative functional medicine, and she's done training in neurosurgery and radiology, and her clinical practice can be found at rejuvenate.com. I love that name. Yeah, so why don't you tell us, Lisa, a little bit about the study that you were involved in, and what were you doing with the patients?
So when asked to be in the Harmoni Pendant study, I was interested because I believe that looking at the heart rate variability is so key to looking and getting an inside look on what I just kind of term generically as, resilience for my clients. So we wanted to look directly into that autonomic nervous system or the sympathetic parasympathetic system and see with heart rate variability, how well are they able to adapt to stress in life? And is this something that, we can improve with certain easy things to do, which most often are free, actually, outside of the clinic. So I was excited to look into the use of a Harmoni Pendant and see if that could be another tool or avenue for improving heart rate variability. So, what we did is we took, I don't even know how many studies I did. So I think I scanned 21 people about. And what we were looking at is doing a heart rate variability scan and determining kind of in a baseline where there's no negative electromagnetic fields. It's a nice, quiet, rested environment just to get a baseline of heart rate variability and see where are these clients as all comers. And then we exposed them to a negative EMF field, which is we did with a little personal fan, and got a reader with to show that there were high EMFs in the fields. And then rescan the clients in what would actually be like a typical office environment, really, or a home environment if you're working at your home computer with these negative EMF fields, and see how did that affect their biology as compared to baseline. And then we charged the Harmoni Pendant, put the Harmoni Pendant on the client, and then just waited a few moments and then rescanned again in the same negative EMF environment as they were, so that we could see were there some inferred benefits from just simply wearing the Harmoni Pendant.
Yeah, and what did you find? What was surprising about the results that you saw compared to maybe other modalities that you tested before?
Timing of day seemed to be really quite important in when I scan these clients. If they were in the clinic early in the day, not a lot of stressors of life had occurred to them, it seemed that the baseline was better and they responded more in a manner which I had expected. So in every study that we do, we make a theory, and then we try to support or refute that theory or a thesis. And then, our theory with this is that they would have a baseline, and with the negative EMF field and stressors, that baseline would show that their heart rate variability would decrease a little bit. And then with the Harmoni Pendant, we could, either get them back to baseline or even better than baseline was what I was hoping. And so I would say that about 26% of my participants followed that exactly. So they were just as expected, declined when they had the negative EMF and improved with the Harmoni Pendant. And then I had equivocal results in about 21%, where I just couldn't say either way, yes or no. They were sort of baseline. And some of those were actually really good heart rate variabilities to begin with, and it seemed like they didn't get budged by the negative EMFs or changed by the Harmoni Pendant. And then I had about another 21%, which seemed to decline a little bit overall with the Harmoni Pendant. But they were, a little bit better than baseline at the end, even though with the negative EMFs, they seem to have a reverse effect of what we had expected, where some of them had actually seemed to do better. They were just more settled, and you can really affect your heart rate variability simply by some breathing techniques that you do, relaxation techniques. And I wondered if they were just more settled into the study in the second round and having some positive effects from that. And I know there's power in numbers, which is why I'm so excited to see what the final study showed overall. But I thought that the biggest variable, really, when I looked back through the data, is timing of day. The later I scanned people in the day, the worse overall their heart rate variability seemed to be to begin with, and it was kind of all over the place as far as the effects from there.
Yeah, that's really interesting. Yeah, the first one of the study doctors has mentioned the time of day and how that affects it. Certainly, are experiencing more stress as the day goes on, more surprises, news
of the day.
Yeah. So based on how easy it is to wear a Harmony Pendant, you just put it on and activate it. Is it something that you would recommend to your clients?
Yeah, and I think even if we're 50-50, the chance of improving heart rate variability by simply just wearing a pendant, and doing the charge once a week type thing, it's worth it to me. Every small bit helps. My clinic is a little different, and I take care of a lot of high-level executive business people that just don't have time, or they claim they don't have time for meditation and things like this, which I know would help. So for me to have another tool that is just simply to wear this Harmony Pendant, and a lot of people have a very positive effect from it. And one of the reasons I actually got into it was I had purchased a Harmony Pendant at one of the health conferences that I went to myself. And it's one of the few things that I've picked up that, subconsciously my mind would think, where's my Harmony Pendant if I didn't have it on? And so to me, and then I did my own scan and showed that it does, truly affect my heart rate variability. So to me, it was something that, maybe it's not for everybody, but it's for enough people and have a positive effect in enough people that it's definitely worth it to give this a try. It was personal, and then moving on from there to help clients that just have a busy life and not a lot of time for all the meditative stuff that it could help as well.
Yeah, I mean, there are a lot of protocols, very, very time intensive, expensive, et cetera. And the Harmony Pendant has no downside effects. There's nothing, you're not going to be harmed in any way by wearing a Harmony Pendant. So there's no downside. There's only upside for a pretty large percentage of people who wear one.
And they look much nicer than when I got my first one.
Yeah. And so did you have any personal experience, like any personal benefits that you noticed when you started wearing your Harmony Pendant?
I think just the ability to get more into that calm parasympathetic without having to take the active thought of doing it was my biggest benefit. I have a really high level stress, in my job as well. And I am raising 4 children, and we have 2 additional businesses in addition to this clinic. So just a high level of always on the go feeling. And I know that brings me into my sympathetic more than I'd like to. So I really felt that it had a calming effect on me and just more level headed, to be able to get through my day easier.
Yeah, I have the same thing. I'm super busy, and the Harmony Pendant for me, my experience was really, really profound in how much it brought my stress levels down, where I almost felt like I was going to fall asleep when I first put mine on as well. It really relaxed me a lot, too much. And so when you were working with these 21 patients, was there anything they reported to you as far as benefits or how they were feeling, or maybe remarked to you in the future when you saw them?
Yeah, so unfortunately, I haven't had follow-up with everybody, but the ones that I have, I know that there's not one person who's not wearing the pendant still. So I think that speaks volumes for itself, even unspoken. And then, I think that anybody who's given me kind of verbal feedback, I haven't had any scanned feedback. Unfortunately, we haven't got to that point yet, but the verbal feedback has been similar to what we're saying, in that they just feel more calm and, kind of a stress level down. And it's really quite noticeable in this time. I mean, everybody's on the high stress. We have so much uncertainty happening in the world and so much chaos. And I think that just to give them a tool to help them into that, and as far as what they've reported, it's been very much along those lines, just a sense of calm and less stress.
Yeah, and that's what we hear from thousands of people that wear the Harmoni Pendant, less stress, better sleep, more energy as a result of that, et cetera. And so is there anything else that you would want to add, like your observations or anything about the study or that you would recommend it to your patients?
I'm recommending to my patients, and I think for the study, it would be amazing to have follow-up, when the people have been having them for a month, and then we rescan and just see, is their baseline different than what it was? But, I guess I'm a researcher by heart, so I see that even timing of day and these little kind of things which are so variable, if we were to repeat it, I think I would have to say, it would be important for people to come in for the 9 a.m. early appointments, get these scanned, and have that reproducible time period where they're getting rescanned, just to take out one variable and so many variables that could affect it.
Yes, yeah, and I agree. We should probably do another study where, this one we expose them to an EMF source, and then only 5-10 minutes later, put on the Harmoni Pendant and activated it. And so we only got these benefits. I mean, I think it's remarkable that just after 5 or 10 minutes of wearing a Harmoni Pendant, we saw a dramatic change. And I think, we've noticed from just observation over the years, it can actually take 3 to 4 days for the full benefits to unfold. So we think that's definitely an area for further research.
And a lot of the physiological changes, I think, would show up later. I think that would be important.
Well, Dr. Fortin, thank you so much for your time and, informing us about your observations during this Harmoni Pendant study. I so appreciate it.
You're welcome.